Okay, I'm gonna go over the guidelines and the construction of the anime head. People like to draw anime, I like to draw anime, I like to animate. And so these are sort of the construction lines and the guidelines that I like to build. The precursor, asterisk, note, is I do not like drawing front view head on unless it's for a very specific case, because it is so like static and boring. If it's like you're designing something, then sure, but even then with a design, just spin it halfway. What's there to learn about the front on head? Unless you've never drawn a head before, then sure, you can think about how to do a front head and learn like, okay, yeah, the eyes. But this is not about that. This is gonna be more about the specific guidelines that I like to use and the rhythm lines, basically pulling from a bunch of different art styles and a bunch of different techniques. So let's get into it. So I have a few heads here, and let's just sort of break each of them down. The main thing is to keep in mind the skull. So I'm gonna draw over this. We have this cranium. You want to always keep in mind the skull. Doesn't matter what style you're doing, it's all just sort of pushing and pulling this skull shape. So where does the skull fit in right here in this head? We have the center line. That's a given, right? I like starting with the circle and then the center line. So after you have this center line idea here, you can cut over the side of the head, because we know that the sides of the head are a little bit shaved off. The head's not a perfect ball. So we have that cut. And then we have the angle for the jaw and the ear. I think this is all pretty basic and pretty, like, people already know this. It's this side of the face that's turning away, where you see this sort of dip in, cheek out, chin out. This is the part where people sort of mess up in. So I'm gonna explain that. So we have the cranium, we have the cut of the side. We need to focus on the zygomatic bone right here. It's this bone, this one right here. So how does that work? For a skull, if I'm gonna draw the skull here, here would be where the eye sockets of the skull is. I'll go like this. And then here is the zygomatic bone. Now I'm exaggerating it for demonstration purposes, but the zygomatic bone, and then you'll get the teeth, like right here, and then you'll get the chin. So it's this curve that we need to emphasize, and this curve is being shown very subtly right here. In eye socket, out zygomatic. That's the main idea. If we look back here, I'm gonna shade in the holes for the eyes. The nose on the skull is, or like the nose hole of the skull is higher, because this is the nasal bone, and then you'll have the cartilage of the nose sticking out. It'll be like this. The mouth protrudes out, and then the chin, it dips back in, and the chin. So what that kind of looks like is, if I have a very simple head, the mouth will protrude out, it'll pop out, and then pop back in. And then there'll be a rhythm line like this for the chin area, like that. So it's really helpful to learn the topography of the face, so that if I were to do lines, there's a line out like this, and then it dips in here for the glabella, out for the nose, right? We have this curve for the zygomatic bone on this side as well. The tooth cylinder, right? It protrudes out and then goes in for the chin, and then here is like the mandible chin bone in the beginning, like that. So this is, all of this is sort of running in the background of the brain. It should be running in the background of your brain when you're sort of drawing out the face, right? So this is sort of the x-ray. So I'm gonna look back over here. A lot of this stuff isn't shown, but it's thought about. So how does this inform my decision making? So you start back out. Here is the head. You draw the center line. You can cut off, find the jaw if you want to. Then, if the skull in anime proportions, for the anime head, the eyes would be lower, and the mouth, like all the features would be sort of smushed in to this bottom half, right? Like a cat. We've already talked about this angle right here. how do I get this curve to go? Well, if we know the eyes are here, right, this is where the eye sockets are, just draw them in perspective, keep the angle. We should start cutting in right here for this part of the skull, the brow ridge of the skull. We cut in sharply, and then we curve out because we know that there's the zygomatic bone right here and the cheek. So we cut out like this, and then we can cut back in and then out a little bit right here for the chin bone. Now, depending on the anime style, some styles will have the chin bone really high up like this, maybe for more older characters or sharper featured characters. And then some styles would have it a lot lower like this for the mouth. It'll kind of blend in the zygomatic with the masseter muscle, which is the sort of the cheek muscle that you use to chew food. They'll puff that out, and then that's how you kind of build out the chibi look. Like cute babies have a lot of fat right there on their chin area right here. So you'll have something like this. To go back over, there's one more thing that I want to touch on using this head. I have other heads as well, but using this one because it has a good angle. We have this ball. We figure out the direction the head is facing, find the angle of the face. We cut the side of the ball, we drop the jaw down, and it's this part right here. This phase where we drop the jaw down. A lot of people, I'll see a lot of like beginner anime art where I don't even know if I can even draw it, like how wrong they draw it. I don't know, not to be mean, but they'll kind of like, I don't know what they do. Maybe it's this, right? It's like, you'll see something like this, and I think you can already tell what's wrong with it. There's no jaw. You gotta drop the jaw, right? You need to. They don't have this drop the jaw. This is the other part too, where when you drop the jaw down, and then you have it connect, and then you get on this side right here, right, the farther side, you'll have the little inset or the inset of the eye socket, and then the protrusion of the zygomatic slash cheek, depending on character, and then nose. Okay, so this is all the backstory, right? The background, the knowledge based. So now let's get into the actual like guidelines, and then I'll explain what each guideline means. So in this example, let's look at this one right here. You will see that I have already have this cut out. I have the ball, I have the angle right here, and then I have the brow line right here. So these are your basic guidelines that people already know. What are some of the specific things that I'm talking about? Drop the jaw slightly. Now this head tilt sort of decreases the jaw because you have a lot of like skin and fat right here and muscle bunching up, so you don't see it that much. And then you'll bring it over to connect to the chin, and then right here, this is where it gets fun. Let's do like a full walkthrough. If I were to draw this entire thing again. We have this. I like drawing the center line first, just so I get a little bit of perspective and maybe even just like a plus. Now remember, these are guidelines. Like this already looks wrong to me, but I don't really care because I'm just gonna edit and modify. So I'll probably do it like this. And then I cut off the side of the head. This is the angle. I'm putting in like the angle of the jaw just so I can sort of feel it a little bit more. And then I try to find the angle of the jaw right here, just being super loose. And then you can kind of find just a line right here like this. Ignore all of this. I just want to sort of get the feeling of the head shape. Now, how do I solve this area right here? There's many different ways. One of the ways that I'm sort of instinctually going into right here is to put in eye sockets first. If I can put in the eyeballs in perspective like this, just super general, even way bigger than I assume it's going to be, because these are like the skull, like imagine the skull right here, then this is sort of like where the eyes would generally be. Now I can sort of start to build out. This would be where the ridge is, right? So this will be stuck out. I should curve this in because this is the eye socket from the skull. Here should be bumped out a little bit because of one cheek plus zygomatic. These two cause this. And then it goes back down, and then wherever the chin is, I can have it swoop back out slightly for the protrusion of the chin. And then you just sort of push and pull the proportions just so that they feel right. So boom, those are the general guidelines for this whole angle of the face. Now, the next guidelines to continue to solve this is this one right here. It's the eyebrow connected to the nose bridge all the way down, and it helps because now that I have the eye sockets in and I have the brow ridge right here, this is the brow ridge, and then I have the eye socket, I'll just push a eyebrow down, nose, because the nose sticks out of the face, probably put it a little bit like this, right? Cover the eyes, the nose is going to cover the eye a little bit, and then there's the mouth, something like that. I recommend, what helped me learn to draw like 3/4 faces better is by working on the far side first. Like, ignore this, get this eye in perspective. So at this point, what would I do? I would throw it back and maybe clean up the lines a little bit. Stuff is being covered. There is this right here. This is the zygomatic, or the brow ridge of the skull. And then this eye socket, the eyeball's not going to be covering this entire eye socket. Unless you wanted to, that's like some anime styles are like that. But for a more like semi-realistic kind of style where you're not making the eyeballs like insect eyeballs or whatever, or goldfish eyeballs, I would probably start cutting into it with the eyelid. Right, here's the eyelid, lower eyelid, and then just make sure I keep this same kind of angle. But yeah, like that. Now, like I said, this is not like, I'm not going over the super basic stuff. It's like, oh, the proportions or whatever. I'm going into more like, I'm assuming you already know half of these, right? I'm assuming you already know that, like how to build out like how the anatomy of an eyeball. I assume you already know this, and so that's why I'm sort of just skipping over this spot right here. So I would spend time figuring this side out first. I found that for me, it was a lot better to get this whole side figured out, and then I just draw out this side. But yeah, so let's do it one more time with this one here. So you can kind of see the process. It goes from here to here to here. So let's explain this one here, and I'm gonna give you one more guideline. Here's the next guideline. So we go find the angle of the head, right? I'm using a similar angle for all of these examples, but you can do like whatever angle you want. It's the same idea, right? You cut the circle, drop the jaw. This side you can probably just smooth it out in the beginning, and then just find the jawline. Find the neck. Tip for the neck, I would do, like if you're not good at necks, just make them longer and thinner than you think, especially for the anime style, and then you can modify after that. You have this. What do I do next? Find out the angle of the eye sockets, nose angle, mouth angle here, right? Just remember, brow ridge into the eye socket, out to the zygomatic, down the cheek, and then out the chin. So boom, boom, zygomatic chin, down, and the chin. It depends. Anime style has a lot of sub-styles. There's a bunch of different anime styles. So it just depends on if you want the apex of the chin line to be where the nose is, if you want the apex of the chin line to be where the mouth is. There's a bunch of different styles. So what's this new guideline? The next guideline that I want to go over is related to the zygomatic. Again, the zygomatic is one of the best rhythms of the face. So we have this cut. I have a line right here. It goes like this. What does this line do and why is it here? It's sort of serving the same purpose as the circle. So what this circle does is that this is the front of the face, and then it curves back right here. There's an edge right here, right? This is the corner of the face. Right here, corner of the head. This is also serving a similar purpose. This is the front of the face, and then it sort of bends down, but just not as crazy as this angle, but it does curve back. So why do we have this line here? It's almost in a way to sort of maintain the features, making sure all the features stay within this sort of triangle looking shape, but also it's good for just finding proportion, that you know that there needs to be space right here for the ear, for the edge of the jaw. There, you need to have space for this right here. And it's also just a way to proportionally measure. So let's put all of that kind of together. I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna redo this face really fast, really roughly. Head, angle, cut it up, cut up the side, drop the jaw. You put down the neck. I did this. Why did I do this? Is because this is capturing the back of the cranium, but also hair. Hair / back of cranium. If you see like anatomy, or if you see side angle of the head, the neck would be like back here. And so this is sort of capturing this angle right here. So that's why I did that. So let's drop the jaw, goes over here like this. I would do eyeballs, just place them somewhere so that way you have the angle. In my mind, I didn't draw this, but in my mind, I imagined the brow ridge right here. So you put the eyeballs in, put this in right here. You can put in the ear if you want to, nose, features, whatever. So here, this is how I would put down this zygomatic line. You have two ways. One way is right from this line right here, like that. Chop up the side of the head, and it creates this angle. And that should help you figure out placements, and also even in shading, and also just in general feeling of the head, making sure the proportions are good. This guideline here is really strong. Another way to do this guideline is to start from up here and then curve it out, having it like this. You can also do both too, because then it creates this sort of little highlight zone right here. So let's do it in like a more cleaner drawing. This is just me making it up, right? So I have this, and these steps, there's no like, oh, you have to do this step first. It's just whatever you need to get the feeling in. And I'm already just automatically throwing in the angles of the jaw. The other thing is to make this space. I think a super common mistake is like to make this area way too long. It's super small, man. Like this, it's not that long. Like most of it should be up here. So just don't make the jaw too long. Unless of course, stylization or something. Like you're gonna stylize it or something. Then you can make the jaw super long. But anyway, eye socket, side of the head. I would do boom, boom. And it doesn't really matter which one, if you want to do this curve or if you just want to do a curve like this. It's more of a feeling based thing. A curve like this gives me the feeling that the cheek is sunken in, or like a more mature feeling. And then this one makes me feel like the cheek is sort of sticking out more. So it could be like more of a younger face. Either way, the purpose of the guideline is essentially just to sort of mark in this curve. Now I don't do it for all the poses or for every head angle, but you should do it for every head angle until you can just see it without having to draw it. Now I'm gonna put in an angle guideline right here. This is a Riley method guideline. This is essentially serving the same purpose as this one right here. So this is sort of showing the front of the forehead, the turn and then turn. It also finds this rhythm line right down here for where the glabella is going to be, as well as the eyebrows, and even a little bit of hairline. It can help out just to find out the hairline. So this is another great rhythm. This is a great rhythm to have, or a guideline. And here are the guidelines again. We have thing here, we have the eye line. You can put in the eye sockets. Here is the zygomatic. Drop the jaw, but it's in perspective, so the line drop is not going to be that much. So let's just go over it one more time live, and I'll talk through every single guideline just to go over all of them. Cranium. Let's draw a skull first, just so that I have a reference to point back to. Okay, so we have the skull, so let's go into it. So we have the cranium here. This is this whole big part of the skull. Let's find out the angle of the face. So I'm gonna do a face this angle. Use reference as well. If you want to draw anime style, I would draw a lot of anime. I would take screenshots, or I would just watch and pause and then just keep copying. Like a big portion of drawing anime is memorizing the shapes. So it's like, oh, how do I draw eyes in this angle? Well, one, you should learn the anatomy of the eyeball and the forms, but then you also need to learn how to stylize it, which is what kind of shapes should I use to draw it. That's why I think drawing stylized stuff can be a little bit harder than just drawing realism, because in realism you're just copying what's already there. All the realism people are gonna be flaming me, but like I draw a lot of realism too. But then with like stylized stuff, you have to learn how to like stylize it. Boom, 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 or it's like this. Boom, boom, boom. You have to learn how to like stylize it and not just make it look super realistic. So in here, I give me this line here, what I just put down. This line is half eyeball, half brow ridge. I'm gonna see what I want to use it for. And I think like the way I think about it too, you should keep that in mind, where it's like this line serves many purposes and it's gonna serve it depending on how I feel about this whole thing. So don't be so, drawing is art, right? There's a lot of technical stuff in drawing, but don't be like, oh, this guideline has to be this, or there has to be like 3 fingers of distance, or it has to be measured out like this. Like, who cares, dude? Just get the feeling of it. And how do you get the feeling of it? By drawing a lot. It helps to know, obviously, but you can know everything. Like, you'll get people that talk back and they're like, oh, I already know all the theory, I already know all this stuff. All right, bro, then draw a million of them. Cause it's like, I know it, how come I can't draw it? It's because you haven't drawn 1,000 anime heads, and that's why you don't have the sense for it. So this guideline here serves many purposes, and I'm gonna see what purpose it serves in a bit. But here, I wanna draw in the center line of the side of the head, so I can have like a little bit of ear ideas. And it also drops down the jaw. Now, what do I want to do here? If you are a bit further along and you can do this, I like putting in the cheek or the eye socket curve like right away, like right here. I like where the circle kind of curves down, the cranium circle. Just have it bend out right where it bends in, like this. That's my sort of shortcut. I just do that really fast, and then I can just put in another line going down here, just making sure I'm keeping this sort of angle going. And then I can have this jaw drop down, and then I connect it like this. At this point, I check and I see how I'm feeling. I also, if I have reference, I'm checking the reference just to see what is off and what needs to be changed. Right now, my feeling is that right here is a bit too low. So just knock it back, try again. I'll go down, go up here, go out like this. And then I didn't have the chin line, so I'm gonna add that in right here. Bam, boom. Now this line here, I don't really like this. The placement of the line is a little bit off right now based off of what I have right here. But I'm just gonna let it be because I'm just gonna draw right over it. So this angle, the character is facing this way. It's also good to put in the neck real fast, so I'm gonna put in the neck. Make it longer as in the beginning, just so you get the distance. And if you don't know too much about necks, or your necks look a little bit weird, just make them longer and thinner a little bit, and it should look fine in the anime style. This head is facing this way, which means that the plane, if it's a box, it's like this. Right? This is in my head. The center of the box, if you were to draw a circle on here, it would be flattened, right? Maybe not as much, but it'll be flattened like this. That's what I'm gonna do right here. I'm gonna do a version of this plus this skull, because I already know that in the skull, if you've drawn enough skulls, you would know that the skull has this sort of form. Draw a million skulls. So this is how I'm gonna do the eye sockets. I kind of have this right here. Boom, eye, and then eye socket, like that. How far apart should they be? 40% feeling, 40% checking distances, and then the other 20% is vibes. So what does that all mean? Right? It's like that doesn't tell you anything. 1, figuring out this far eye. I know the perspective, and for distance, I know that there should be a little bit of distance from the edge of the face. If the head is turned even slightly more like this, then the eye itself would be the edge, kind of like this one here. But in this case, the vibes I'm getting, and also this comes from just like drawing a lot of anime and also just using your reference, the vibes I'm getting is that this eye is not going to be touching all the way to the edge. If it were, I think that it's not gonna match the rest of the face. You can try it one way and then erase it and do it the other way if it looks wrong, but that's something to check. So I'm gonna put the eyeball right here. Now how do I find this one? I'm looking at, this is where that guideline of the zygomatic comes in. This one right here, or this one right here. This eye is going to be bigger because of perspective, vanishing point. Everything's going back to this vanishing point wherever. And I just need to make sure I keep the same angle somewhat, but it's not perfect because these are guidelines for the eyeball. And I just generally hit this side of the face. Now this circle here feels small, right? So I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, but something like that. What do I do next? You double check, right? You make sure you have it zoomed out. This top part of the head feels a little bit too forward, so I'm gonna slide it back. So that way it kind of goes like this. You have a nice angle like that. Head anatomy, learn your skulls. These eyes, they seem a little low to me. So I'm gonna slide them up slightly. Here's the eye, here's the other eye. Because of this angle here, the nose is gonna be like right here. So this eye is going to be covered by the nose like that. And if it's an anime nose, think that it's not going to be super complex. I might put a little nostril like right here. And then mouths are smaller than you think. So I have these features in. Something looks wrong. One, mouth is too low. I would put the mouth a little bit higher because you want to imagine this. And two, there's not a lot of space right here. It's too close. The chin is too far back. So I'm going to slide the chin forward. Now the mouth is a little bit too far. Slide the chin up forward so that it fits this vibe a little bit more. That. Bam, bam, bam. Eyebrows, just put them in, right? See how everything sort of flows together. This jaw can be a little bit lower. Trying to find the right feels. I would put in a hairline right here just so I can figure out like how much of this is like the hair and how much of it is like the actual forehead, just so I get a good vibe of everything, and then just modifying, putting it all together. I'm drawing a lot more than I normally would for demonstration purposes, as in like I'm putting a lot more lines and thinking about it a lot more. Like a lot of the times once you have this kind of down, you're just kind of you're doing shorthand. You're sort of just kind of going in with your feeling. Here I'm taking more time. So we kind of have this head that's constructed, and then we just start adding in features. Now I'm not going to go super in depth because I mean that could be its own whole thing, but the main idea of this one is to just find out the guidelines, or like what are the main guidelines, and the big ones that I like, and let's go over them real fast. Is we have the zygomatic arch, we have the second version of it, side of the head, and this version of it. We have the down for the jawline right here. We have the curve in for the eye socket, out for the zygomatic, down the cheek, out for the chin. Keep all of those in mind. A thinner, longer neck, the hairline, or even the Riley rhythm circle for the top of the forehead to sort of see the planes. So then this is side plane, 3/4 plane, front plane, and then it curves back down. So it's like a wrap around like this, right? So now that we have all of those guidelines down and we get to this point, I'm just gonna go real quickly, put in some of the features. So I'll put in the shape of the eyelash. Here's the pupil is being covered, right? So you want to keep that in mind. Here's the eyebrow. Bam, that's one. And I would be zoomed out a little bit more, but whatever. This eye socket too, by the way, this is not the full eye. Unless you're doing like a certain style, like if you want this to be the whole eyeball, it'll be like a more like cuter style, I guess, right? It'll be like like this, which can work. There's nothing against that, but it's a little bit too, like, you don't have to draw your eye. This eye socket isn't really meant to make all of your eyes super big. The eye socket is meant to be like, this is where the eyeball is, and then you want to just cut into it with the eyelashes. Flip your canvases to see how it looks, right? To get a new fresh perspective, just to see what's wrong with it. I think this eye here could be a little bit more polished up. This one here, a bit more. I don't like this line, right? And this, I would slide it back more like that. Flip it back. Take a look. I'm not really, and this is just sort of me designing it out more. Do I want the cheek? Do I want the whatever? Do I want the cheek to be where the mouth is, or do I want it to be a little bit above? And then after that, you just put hair down, you put whatever down, and then you're chilling. So I'm gonna do one last bit, is just shading it in, because I think that can help showcase the forms a little bit more. So here would be the side of the head, side of the neck, side of the nose. I might just do something similar like this, just so it's clear, because I think it doesn't look that clear. There we go. I'm gonna do something like this.